This will be the first of hopefully many EC Sword Sport drill training videos. Each of these videos will require 2 people wearing proper protective gear. By proper protective gear, the most ideal situation is a standard martial arts foam headgear, a foam sword, preferably a stiff blade foam sword, and a plastic face shield or a metal face cage that can be attached to the foam headgear. This first video will be about a basic exchange of head attacks and blocks. Both players should get into an on-guard position so that they're about 1 step away from being able to launch a successful attack. For this video's purposes, we will have the blue player attacking first. For this drill, the blue player lifts up their sword and strikes at the center of the head, while the red player lifts their sword up into a block. The most important point being that the block is perpendicular to the attack. The red player then pulls from the pommel of the sword into a side cut. Acceptable targets are the cheek or the shoulder. This is repeated using the headguard on the opposite side. Note that on the left side headguard, your wrists will be separate, but on the right side, your wrists will cross over each other. Again, we pull from the pommel into a side cut. Here's the exchange at a medium speed. Head cut, side cut, head cut, side cut. The blocking player wants to alternate the different head guards so that they can be sure to get practice doing both. In a real fight, it wouldn't matter which one you did, so long as you were able to do something to protect your head. The attacking player, in this case the blue player, will focus on getting a good, accurate, and strong head cut, but they should also pay attention to their blocking of the side cut. Normally, we would practice this routine about 5 to 10 sets of blocks and cuts, then switch roles to make sure that both players get the opportunity to practice. If a player should miss their block and be hit by the other player's sword, take it as a bit of a game practice. That person was hit, therefore they lost the point. Keep going with your practice after that. Now, from the first-person perspective. Again, blue will attack first. A solid center head cut, and note the perpendicular guard. Perpendicular guards are the most effective at stopping the forward motion of the sword. Having them at an angle or trying to match line for line with the sword is very dangerous. When the side cut comes in, you will want to move your entire sword, keeping the vertical line of the blade, to the side to block the cut. That provides enough balanced force to stop the forward motion of the sword. Again, attack the head. The red player will pull from the pommel into a side cut, and the blue player moves their sword to the side. At a slightly faster pace. Note in the first-person video, you can see the blue player take the initial forward step into the first attack. For beginner's practice, you'll start a little closer and do the exchange within strike distance. When you get a little more coordinated with that, you'll move on to being 1 step away. So you will go step into the attack and then step out of it. Now the blue player will block. To be fair, the GoPro sits a little high on the forehead. When you're blocking, you do not want your sword in your line of vision. It should be above your forehead. On the left head guard, it is also important to make sure your arm is not blocking your vision. you'll create a window that you can see through between your sword and your arm. Here a little faster. A common mistake is to guard on the same side more than once. If this happens, continue your practice. It's best to get even practice on both sides. However, training a quick reaction time is also important. Keep going at full speed and do your best to make sure that you work both sides of your wrists. As an extra strategy point, we'll point out another common mistake that actually can end up working in your favor. The head guard and side counterattack is more a matter of practicing large movements with a heavier sword. The foam swords we're using here are actually too thick and weighted. When we use competition weight swords, we will move a bit faster. You want to get used to doing a full side cut. However, if once in a while you stay on the inside edge of your opponent's sword and cut down, you have easy access to their face, chest, or a simple wrist cut. All of these can be an effective strategy if your opponent is expecting you to come on the outside edge.